All right, what's up, guys? Got a little post-work rant here for you. Look, you see the title, you know what time it is. Jimmy Kimmel is a clown. He is trash. He is not funny. He has no talent. He never really ever has. I wish I could also say that he is the least funny and worst late night show host, but unfortunately, Stephen Colbert also exists, and that award is strictly for him. I legitimately don't think this man has gotten an earnest laugh in a decade. The man's been listening to the studio fake applause him so long, he really thinks it's funny. Like, I'm a DC guy. I could go down to DC Improv for open night mic on a Wednesday night, $20 for 5 comedians, and see people that can carry the stage and make more jokes than Jimmy Kimmel has in 10 years. I'm not really a late night show guy back when I was, or back when I did watch it. I always preferred Jimmy Fallon. Not that he's the best either, but at least he would actually like play games with his guests and like do skits with them and whatnot. Jimmy Kimmel is just the classic Los Angeles elitist who sits at his desk like it's a throne and he thinks he's a celebrity, forgetting that everyone watching are really just watching to see who the guests are. So you might be saying to yourself, why did AP just take a whole minute to tell us how much he dislikes Jimmy Kimmel? Well, last Sunday was the Oscars, and Robert Downey Jr., of course, was nominated for Best Supporting Actor for Oppenheimer, and he won. It was his first Oscar ever, 30 plus year career, and only his third nomination. What did Jimmy Kimmel do at the Oscars? Since he has no talent and has no jokes and is not funny, he reverted to making jokes about Robert Downey Jr.'s past. Obviously, Robert had a lot of problems in the 90s with drug addiction. He's very proud of himself for getting out of that time and becoming the successful person that he is. But for some reason, Jimmy thought it was funny or cool or a good idea. Again, he has no jokes, so he has to revert to low stuff like this. Just the ultimate classic definition of a guy that can dish it but can't take it. But his dishes aren't even funny. That's the worst part. He makes one joke about how Robert used to be a drug addict, and then he doubles down and does it twice. Now, of course, Robert is a true professional, and the first one he kind of just laughs off with the audience, and then the second one, as you can see, I'll show you, he's visibly getting tired of it. He starts giving Jimmy the wrap it up, move on motion. This is my big night. What are you doing?
This is the highest point of Robert Downey Jr.'s long and illustrious career. Well, one of the highest points. But Robert has been a... Was that two on the nose, or is that a drug motion you made?
This was a particularly big night for Robert because, as you guys know, he gave up pretty much 12 years of his career to play Iron Man, shout out, to play Tony Stark in the Avengers Infinity Saga. 3 of those times, he gave what I would consider Oscar worthy performances. I would go Iron Man 1, I would go Civil War, and I would go Endgame as his three best. Specifically, Endgame, he should have been nominated. He was amazing in that film, and in a movie that had 100 characters, he stood out as the guy. Of course, the Oscars kind of roll their eyes and don't value people that play comic book characters. They kind of think it's a joke, even though when done right, it's not. So he never got a nomination for any of this, despite giving the prime of his career to it. He was, he's in a couple movies, The Judge, Due Date, a couple random movies like that. But for the most part, he was tied into Marvel for 12 years. So this is a big night. I mean, the Oscars are famous for giving people awards, kind of like a lifetime achievement award almost. Like, hey, we recognize that you should have won an Oscar by now, so since you're nominated, we're going to give it to you. That does not to say that he shouldn't have won for Oppenheimer. He certainly was one of the best supporting actors of the year. But everyone knew the second he got nominated, he was going to win. And a big part of it was because of how much he's done for the industry over the last decade and a half. And this was their opportunity to see it. So for him, it's literally almost a lifetime achievement award night for him. And Jimmy Kimmel stoops to making jokes about how he used to be a drug addict in the 90s. Bro, I don't know a single person that would have been against him getting up out of his seat, walking on stage, and smacking the shit out of Jimmy Kimmel. I don't know a single person. See, with Chris Rock and Will Smith, it's a little different because they're both famous and they both have a big fan base. They're both very popular. There's no comparison between Robert Downey Jr. and Jimmy Kimmel. They are literally different stratosphere of people, both by fame, both by accomplishments, and by likability. RDJ is a straight sweep. And you want to talk about a night where that would have been warranted? So, Robert, I'm sticking up for you. Many other people are sticking up for you. I just want to let you know that we appreciate you and that we all know Jimmy Kimmel is trash.